Hello everyone, welcome back to Như Ý channel. Today we continue this storybook with chapter 4. Xin chào các bạn đã quay lại với kênh của Như Ý. Hôm nay mình tiếp tục đọc cuốn truyện này với chương 4. Như thường lệ các bạn hãy bấm dừng video, hãy chọn những từ mình chưa biết, những cụm từ, những cách diễn đạt hay và ghi lại để tự học nhé. Now let's start now. Chapter 4. The Fire. One cold day in December, the squire came to our stable with good news for James. The squire brother-in-law needed a new coachman. He wanted a young lad that he could train up, and James was asked if he would like the job. "I don't want to lose you, James," said the squire, "but you're a good man and you deserve this chance." James started his training at Birdwick Park. When the squire and his wife next visited friends, James had to try them. It was a long journey with an overnight stop, and Ginger and I pulled the carriage. James drove us well, and on the first day we went 32 miles. That night, we stopped in a large hotel in the marketplace of a town. After the squire and his wife had got out, Ginger and I pulled the carriage under an archway and into the long yard with stables and coach houses. Two ostlers came to help James. The head ostler took up my harness and rubbed the sweat from my coat. James waited with us until we were bedded down in a clean stable with a good corn feed. Later in the evening, the assistant ostler brought another horse into the stable. While he was grooming it, a man came to talk to him. I didn't like the man much, and the ostler said, "Do me a favor, Toller. Stop smoking that pipe and get me some hay from the hay loft." Dick Toller climbed up into the hay loft and brought down some hay. When the hostler had finished his work, the two men left the stables and I finally fell asleep. In the middle of the night, something woke me. The air was thick and choking and it stung my eyes. I could hardly breathe and I could hear Ginger coughing. The trapdoor to the hay loft was open and something strange was happening up there. There was a soft rushing noise and lots of crackles and snaps. By now the air was thick with smoke. It was very frightening and I knew there was danger. Suddenly the stable door burst open and an ostler ran in carrying a lantern. He untied a horse and went to lead it out of the stable, but the horse was too scared to move. The ostler tried another horse, and when that horse wouldn't budge, he came to me. I wouldn't follow him either. Danger was all around me, but I was too terrified to move a step. Fresh air came rushing through the open stable door, and I breathed it thankfully. But with the air, the rushing sound grew fierce. Through the bars of my empty hay rack, I saw a red light flickering on the wall. Fire! The cry came from outside, and now flames were lickering around the trapdoor. I snorted and kicked the door, and just when I was really starting to panic, I heard a voice I knew. "Steady, beauty, easy does it." It was James, and his gentle voice was music to my ears. Calmly he patted me. Then he put on my bridle, and taking a scarf from around his neck, he tied it lightly over my eyes. "Come on, boy," he said softly. I've never been so scared in my life, but I trusted James, and the scarf over my eyes stopped me from panicking because I couldn't see anything. Slowly I followed James out into the yard. He handed me to someone else, then darted back into the stable. "James!" I whined as he disappeared. James didn't turn back, but my shrill cry saved Ginger's life. After the fires were over, she told me that it was only hearing me outside that had given her the courage to follow James. The yard were noisy and people were running around shouting to make themselves heard over the top of the roaring flames. Then from inside the stable came an awful crash. Where were James and Ginger? Seconds later, they appeared from the burning building. Poor Ginger was coughing so badly she couldn't speak. The squire pushed his way through the crowd. "James, my brave lad," he said. "Are you all right?" James shook his head. He couldn't speak either. By now the fire were blazing through the stable roof. Stand back! Stand back for the fire engine!" Two horses clattered into the yard, pulling a heavy engine. Several firemen leaped to the ground and pulled out a long hose. "Come along," said the squire. "Let's get these horses out of the way." The squire and James led Ginger and me out of the yard and into the marketplace. It was quiet there. Stars twinkled in the black night sky, and the air was crisp and cold. "Take the horses to that hotel over there," said the squire, pointing to a large building. "Order them anything you want, and I have to go back to my wife now." The squire hurried away at the fastest walk I've ever seen. Then a terrible shrieking started. It sounded like a horse was in dreadful pain. The noise was so awful that Ginger and I stopped dead, but there was nothing we could do to help. The next morning, the squire visited us. "My wife is too upset to travel," he told James. We will continue with our journey tomorrow." James was a hero, and the squire was very pleased with him. But Dick Towler, the ostler's friend, was in deep trouble. The fire had started because he'd accidentally left his pipe in the hayloft. Ginger and I had had a lucky escape. 2 horses had died in that burning stable. The end. Luckily, Ginger and James were safe from the fire. Thank you for listening. See you on the next chapter.